Welcome back to After the Horn. I'm Mark Shannon, and once again, I'm joined by my co-host Marco Corona.
What's up?
What's going on? It's been
Not
a
much.
while.
Yeah,
It's
it
been a
has been.
while.
It
It's been
has been.
the NHL trade deadline in between the last time we recorded. A bunch of different things have happened in between last time we recorded.
Yeah, and
Weather got better, but still now it's getting colder again. So here we go talking about the weather again, right?
yeah, the weather's flaky like the Leafs.
Well, the Leafs aren't flaky.
They're not flaky.
No, they're absolute. They're just shit.
Oh,
Plain
okay,
and
so
simple.
I was
They're
giving them too much credit. My bad.
yeah. You're giving them way too much credit. That means that
Ah,
they've won some games, right? Obviously they won tonight, but
by accident.
by accident. Nobody expected them to win. If Gudas that was, which we'll get into obviously later on. If Gudas doesn't take that 5 minute major, I think that game's a different game.
Gudas is like the hitman of the NHL all of a sudden, right?
He's always been a
He's
goof,
been like
but
that.
anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. I know, and speaking of hitmen, or speaking of dirty plays, or like all that stuff, is obviously there was no dirty play, but it was a little bit of buffoonery at the end of the Raptor game.
Buffoonery?
Buffoonery, right?
Holy
Little,
shit! All right.
right? I know
Yeah,
we're
this is
starting off. We're starting off hot with some
okay.
big words
That's
here,
the kind of show
but
it's gonna
some
be. All right.
buffoonery from Dejountae Murray in the New Orleans Pelicans Raptor game at the end of the game last night.
Yeah.
So
I think I texted you last night. I was pretty heated because we can talk about, and I was coming on here, we're going to talk about how the Raptors can't be good teams and how that loss last night kind of sucked because New Orleans sucks, right? And the Raptors need to get their shit together. They've been playing sort of like ass over the last few weeks, very up and down, sort of look like they hit a wall.
mhm.
And then last night, what should have never happened. This is the epitome of what's the word again? Goofery? No, what is it?
Buffoonery.
Buffoonery, not goofery. Goofery, I just made up. Buffoonery, right? Like, so you're getting your ass kicked anyway. You're being embarrassed on the road at New Orleans and one of the worst teams in the league, right? And if you guys haven't seen it, go Google it, go on YouTube, and then like and subscribe to us, by the way, and pull up the clip from the Pelicans game where Murray does, you know, he broke some ankles. He broke an ankle. Okay, like I gotta give him that. And you play ball or whatever, and the one thing that what you need to do with when you break an ankle, you need to finish the play, right? And he finished the play. But after that, he stood over. Was it quickly?
No, it was Jamal Shed.
Oh, Jamal Shed. That's right. Over Jamal Shed, and basically made him look like a child. He
Yeah.
basically just ripped on him, right? Like just massive flex, right? And okay, that's all fine and dandy. So immediately my head goes to, okay, time to respond. Somebody get two texts, somebody get kicked out of the game. You don't need to go Detroit City. You don't need to go Malice in the Palace, but you need to respond. You cannot be disrespected in under any circumstance like that. Whether you're up 15, you're down 15, it doesn't matter. To me, of all the things that the Raptors have done inconsistently or bad, right? And we talked about, how they can't beat the good teams and they're a team on, just sort of learning to win. And that's fine. And sort of whatever. That was the low point of the season. I thought the low point of the season was them losing to, who did they get their asses kicked by? Washington, in Washington a few months ago. This is actually worse because not only did you lose the game, you got disrespected and you look soft as fuck. That's the part that really bothers me. And to me, the response or lack thereof, and I know quickly went up and sort of said a few things and this and that, but it didn't seem like anybody was really upset about it, right? And again, I'm not advocating violence, guys. I'm obviously joking, but I'm not advocating violence. I'm not saying that somebody should, throw punches and all that. But you got to show up for your teammate. That's disrespect. That is total disrespect, and it's a sign of a team that's soft. And that's one thing that you cannot be. You lose, you win. It is what it is. You go on slumps. It's fine. You work through them. But I want to get your opinion. Am I overreacting? Because to me, I think that was just wrong. And coach's reaction after the game was vanilla. Everybody else's reaction was vanilla. They should have been angry, not only to lose the game, but to get embarrassed and showed up like that. So I want to hear what you think, because to me that is the low point, and I want to see how they bounce back, because that's going to be also important.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I mean, at that point, when somebody's doing that to your player, you have to stand up for them. You have to, you know, come to their defense. You can't leave them defenseless. You can't leave them getting clowned like that and getting especially in basketball, right? We don't see that all the time. There's not a lot of taunting, a lot of stuff like that that
Right.
goes on,
They've
right?
taken that shit out of
Um,
the game, and that's fine, whatever, right?
yeah, exactly. They've taken a lot of it out of the game, and there's no need for it all the time, right? But to have that happen and him just stand over him like he just committed he committed some, like I said, buffoonery on
I
Jamal
love that.
on Jamal Shed, and nobody really stepped up. Nobody really said a word. He literally walked up and he said what he said to the bench, and nobody even really like batted an eye. They went up to him, but like nothing was really said, nothing really thing. Like it was a little bit ridiculous in my opinion. And if that's happening and that's happening to your teammate, you got to stand up. We've seen it in the NHL recently a lot, right? Like Buffalo with the Sabres with Tage Thompson and
Yeah.
stuff like that. You see it happen a lot where guys are standing up for their players when
Just
there's
show
grievances.
some grit, show some
Yeah,
balls, right?
yeah, yeah.
And
When there's grievances and like when, just like when there's something happening against your team or against you, then you just have to, you have to stand up for them. Plain and simple. You have to stand up for them. And if this team is a brotherhood and if it's a family and all that stuff, so they claim, then you have to stand up for your brother and your teammate out there, and you can't just let him get um, made to look like a fool like that.
on a team that's basically fifth worst in the league. So it's not even like they got punked by a team that's top five, a defending champion or returning Eastern Conference or something like that. This is a team that's a bottom feeder. So not only did you get
Yeah,
punked, but you got punked by a team that's trash. They're literally, actually, look it up. Look at the standings, 22 and 45, whatever it is. They're a lottery team, right? And
yeah,
that's not who you should be. And if you're inspiring to be a team that's going to be together, and actually I never thought about this, a brotherhood, a family, and all that stuff, this is what you do. You need to stand up. And again, I repeat, you don't need to, we don't not advocating violence, but at the same time, you got to say, yo, what's up? This is not happening. Not on our watch. You might be beating us in the scoreboard, but you're not gonna punk us like that. Back
yeah.
the know what up, right? Like, and that's what it is. And I don't know if that's coaching and that's maybe lack of leadership, right? Because what the Raptors are, if you look at the roster construction, and again, I have no problem with the guys that are on the team, but they're a bunch of nice guys, right? They're guys that, if like you don't expect them to be rowdy and anything. They're very respectful guys. There's no real old heads in there. Like, I don't know if that's a thing in the NBA anymore anyways, but there's nobody that can grab somebody by the neck and say, hey, this is not what we do here. Right? This is not what we do here. We grew up in an era where even when the Raptors were not winning championships, we had guys like Oakley and them that, if shit's going down, you got to pay the price. And
Yeah, we live in an era where you foul a person 43 times to let them get 83 points, but
we're not going there. We're not going there. 43, like, come on, man. Like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Perfect example, right? So maybe this is an NBA thing, like 43 times to the free throw line. At a certain point, you gotta hack a guy. You gotta trip
Well,
another or something.
I mean, they hacked them. They were just hacking them to help them get to 83 points.
This in the NBA is
Yeah.
not a hack, bro. Right? Like, you gotta
No, but I mean, they were fouling him. At the end of the day, the foul was called.
make him
Whether
feel
we,
it. Make him
yeah,
feel it then.
no, I agree,
Right?
but they're.
Again, I'm not advocating
I
violence.
don't know. The way I look at it, the way I look at it now is there's not a lot of like grit in the sense of like, especially in basketball. There's not like obviously nobody wants to lose, obviously, but I don't think
Of
there's as much
course.
heart. A loss is a loss, and people just they move on from it. They don't hold. They don't. There's no Mamba mentality with a lot of these guys where they don't.
Bingo.
Right.
Yeah. And
Right.
and
They
I and
don't.
I and
Yeah.
you nailed it. Sorry to interrupt, but I think that what's happening too with the Raptors is, and I want you to tell me if I'm wrong or not, it seems like they are satisfied and have accepted who they are in a sense of we know that we're not good enough to be a top 5 team in the East or 10. Nobody thought that you were going to be, but it doesn't mean that you can't strive to be that, right? But they've settled. They've almost like they said, they look at the schedule and it's like, we're going to play a top 5 team. Eh, we can probably just chill,
Mediocrity.
right? And then, you'll see sometimes the Raptors make runs during games and they keep it close, and they give you hope, but those are not consistent enough for 48 minutes, right? And the Raptors don't have the high end skill set on this team to afford to lay off, take the foot off the gas. And we
Yeah.
talked about this a few episodes ago. It seems that everything for the Raptors has to come hard for them in order for them to win games. Like, it has to be tight. It has to be a grind. It has to be a certain way. Everything, right? Like, yeah, they sometimes get a few blowouts here and there, but how many times have you watched a Raptors game and know this game is over? They're winning 100% for sure. Right? They go through these slumps during games in the second quarter and the fourth quarter, which are your, ending quarters, like ending the half or ending the games, where they just go in these slumps. Like,
Yeah.
they can't close, right? So again, it's learning to win, but responses like that, I hope that maybe the team rallies around this. I don't know what's going to happen if this sends them into a tailspin, because correct me if I'm wrong, are they now fallen into the play in, right?
Yeah, they're seventh,
Which again,
seventh, a
you
full
would
game back of
right.
sixth.
Which again, beginning of the season, you're probably figuring
They're
that
in the
they would be where they
yeah.
should be.
The way I look at them, they're a
Right,
muddy middle team. They're a muddy middle
right,
team. They're in the muddy middle. They're a team that's not here and not down here. They're right in
right.
the middle of where they should be in the grand scheme of things. And obviously, they're still only one game. They're one
Yeah,
game out of fifth place. They're not out of it, but they've been they're 4-6 in the last 10. They've lost two straight. But as you said, they can't beat top 10. They can't beat playoff teams.
they just can't.
When yeah, when they
They don't
play
have the
like the really
horses.
good teams, they just don't have the horses. They don't have the clutch gene, the closing mentality down the stretch. And I don't know if that's a coaching thing or
Well,
a player thing, right? Obviously, I've always been of the mind that Darko Rajakovic is not the guy to lead this team to the next level.
right. And there's
Right?
nothing
He's
wrong with that.
no, of course
Right. He's a
he's
player development coach, right?
absolutely.
He's not a coach that gets you over the hump in the first, second round, etc. Right? Like, we've seen
Hmm.
this before. There's examples litters through sports in North
Yeah,
America of you bring in a coach to bring up a young team to get them to a certain level, and then once they reach that, okay, next guy
see
up,
ya, see
right?
ya.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but
Yeah,
and you're right. I think that and you can start to see some of the coaching decisions late game, not calling timeouts, rotations that are weird, rear its ugly head, right? So
yeah,
you don't have the horses, and then the coaches are making sort of these odd decisions again. And trying to develop and win, sometimes it's hard to do at the same time, right?
yeah,
When you don't have the horses. And listen, it's obvious that Scotty Barnes is not going to be a 28-10 guy. It's just not it. And there's nothing wrong with that. BI, if he's not getting isolated plays, like, what else is he doing? Right. And again, that's who he is, and that's fine. Quickly has his deficiencies. Barrett has his deficiencies. Jakob Hurdle, if he's, if it's too windy, his back might go out. I'm not too sure. So, but again, in the grand scheme of things, I want to rip this team in half, but at the same time, it's like they are who they are, and they are exactly where we thought they were going to be.
it's like Lovie Smith when he said the Bears are who we thought they were, right? You know what I mean? The Raptors are who we thought they were. They're a muddy middle team, a team that's stuck in the middle. They're not too good, they're not too bad, and they still need pieces to obviously to push them over the edge. They should have made those moves at the deadline to maybe push themselves over the edge. But at the end of the day, look, we've discussed it previously. This team is not a Larry O'Brien championship contender right now with the way the roster is built and with the coach they have and everything like that. They're not. the beginning of the year there was an aberration. They were up at the top of the standings.
They're
It
playing
was
with house
early in the
money.
season,
Yeah,
right? They were playing with house money at the end of the day, and now they're not in at that point, right? And now you're seeing that things are starting to like look the opposite way, right?
yeah,
So and they're going the opposite way, and they're not able to beat the good teams, and they're losing against the good teams, and they're only beating up on the bad teams unless it's the New Orleans Pelicans, right? But
yeah. And now you're going to get into the if they start losing to the bad teams, right?
yeah,
Then it becomes a bit of a mental block, right? So again, but at the same time, they are a 3 or 4 game winning streak away from feeling good about themselves,
yeah,
right? They got to get back in the horse. They got to show a little bit more grit, more fight, right? Get back on what you do best. You know, you don't shoot the three, by the way. I was at the game against Dallas. My God, watching this team shoot the 3 pointer, it is painful. I think they ended up being 28% from downtown, and they beat Dallas by like 20 something points. Just put that in perspective, right? You shoot 28% from downtown, you beat a team that's a bottom feeder, and you cannot shoot a three. If that was another team, they would have got blown out, right?
yeah.
So, and it's obvious that's what they lack. They lack that. So those are the things that you can address in the offseason. But I want to see a little bit more fight in the Raptors in the last, in ending this
There,
in a
yeah,
strong,
the end of the
right?
season. Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to end the season, right? You got to,
Feel good about
you got
yourself.
two more home games. You got in this home stand here, this or in a 2 game little home stand here with the Suns and Pistons. Then you go out on a 5 game road trip. It looks like from what I'm seeing, you got the Bulls, the Nuggets, the Suns, and then the Jazz and the Clippers. Right before you come back home to play the Pelicans again, right?
Yeah.
So you're not going to get easy teams. You're not going to get teams that are just going to be to roll over and die and let you win. Especially this late in the season now. So you need to put the pedal to the metal, and you need to, get yourself into one of those, as we've said before, get yourself into one of those positions where you're not playing in the play-in, because you don't want to be in a play-in position at the end of the
Right.
day.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, as we said, this team is a play-in type team. They're not a team that's going to be uh, contender for an NBA championship. Plain and simple, they're just not. They don't have the talent. They don't have the workhorses. They have great players, but they don't have
Good player.
elite players all around, right? You need
Right.
to surround that team with elite players. So I don't know where they go in the offseason. As I said, I don't think Darko Rajakovic is a coach to lead this team into the future. And to get the most out of this squad, they need a Nick Nurse type coach or somebody of that thing. I'm not saying bring back Nick Nurse, but I'm saying like of that pedigree, right? So as long as it's not Doc Rivers, I'm okay.
You had to end it like that, eh? Wow,
Yeah,
you put that one in there. All right, cool.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I completely agree. Hey, maybe Steve Kerr has enough of Golden State because he seems like he's bored there. So just saying, I don't
Yeah,
whatever.
and
Whatever.
yeah, we never know.
You never know.
And obviously we'll shift gears to the other Toronto team, and speaking of muddy middle,
Oh, that's not
um,
middle.
they are not muddy middle. They are muddy bottom. They are like the one of the
Like
worst
that is
teams
some
in the
toilet
NHL.
right there.
Yeah, like they are absolutely brutal. Obviously, they picked up a win today, but it was a 6-4 win against Anaheim, right? You know what I mean?
Of
Anaheim's a
course
good
it
team,
was.
a decent team this year, but it was 6-4. But again, we talked about it earlier about the Raptors and showing some fight and showing some grit and showing some determination. And obviously, the biggest thing happened in today's game, and not a single soul touched him. Not a single soul touched him. Radko Gudas takes a diving lunge at Auston Matthews' knee with his knee in a knee-on-knee collision. He gets a 5-minute major kick out of the game. Matthews, obviously, I believe he came. Didn't end up fully watching the game, but he came back and scored the tying goal to make it 3-3 on the power play, and then he didn't come back for the rest of the game. But somebody has to. I don't give a crap if it's William Nylander, Easton Cowan, Morgan Riley, Joseph Wall, whoever it is. Somebody has to take a run at Radko Gudas, and you're not going to get the best of Radko Gudas if you're one of those guys, but take him to the ground, get in his face, say something, do something to him. Don't just go up to him and just be like, "Don't do that. That's you shouldn't do that."
No,
Like, don't. Yeah, like, come on, man. It's absolutely. Don't get me wrong. This team is horrible. I don't really care what happens to them. I hope they lose out the rest of the way, finish bottom five, get the pick, whatever the case is. But you in a game like that when that happens, and then it's like later on in the game Easton Cowan gets hit, or not Easton Cowan, sorry, Nick Robertson gets hit, and Easton Cowan drops the gloves with the guy. But that's only because they dropped the gloves because they didn't do it earlier, and they should have done it earlier. So now it's like, well, I got to drop the gloves now on a clean hit. I'm like, no, you drop the gloves on when somebody's taking a dirty shot or run at your player. Like that's a dirty of the dirtiest plays you can have, right? You don't know
Yeah.
what's going to happen to Matthews now at the end of the day. Like he could be out with an MCL injury, he could be out with whatever,
Yeah.
right? There could be a lot of injury history or a big injury with this because of that, and nobody stood up for their captain, the guy who could score goals. Yes, he's having another down year this year, but he's one of the best goal scorers when he's on his game, when he's fully healthy, obviously. And not a single soul stepped up for them. And it just goes to the microcosms of what this fucking team is all year. It's been so brutal from top to bottom, from the general manager all the way down to the goaltending. It's just been constant garbage. And it just continues game after game. And Berube can come out and say whatever he wants to say after the game. Nylander could say that he didn't see it, but he should have jumped
Okay.
in. Riley could take all the responsibility in the world he wants, but I don't care. You should have done it in the moment.
Yeah.
And this team has done it for years. They don't drag anybody into the fight. They just don't do it, and they're never going to do it. And it's time to make some changes. Obviously, we've talked about this on numerous occasions. They're not going to move Matthews. They're not going to move Nylander. Are they going to fire Treliving? Are they going to fire
Probably not.
Berube? That's something to see going down the rest of the way. But it's just, I don't know, man. I gotta get your take on it, but it's just absolutely ridiculous. Before we even talk about how bad the Leafs are in the standings and if they got to go drop it to the bottom five or if they should just
Yeah.
not finish bottom five, whatever the case is. But like, it's ridiculous watching this team and seeing that they have no fight and no jaw back to anybody, no backbone, nothing out there, nothing.
Right.
Yeah, no set of cojones,
That's
nothing.
it. Right. And a lot of things stood out because it happened so fast and it almost like it happened in slow-mo at the same time. Right. So I'm watching this game, right, which I clearly had nothing better to do because I'm watching the Leafs. But I'm watching this game and I saw the play develop. I saw it happen. And I'm not going to toot my own horn, but as a Flyers fan, my instinct automatically is like brawl. Right. And I'm doing the complete opposite of what I did in the first segment when I talked about the Raptors. I didn't want to advocate violence. Hockey's a contact sport, right? Nobody has to get quote unquote hurt or go through a glass, but there has to be a response. And the response was Willie putting up his hand, right? Saying, oh my God, did you see that penalty? He skates by 34, Auston Matthews. Matthews is there on the floor, probably like half dead. People are like, are you okay? Or is he okay? Or are you going to call the penalty? Like maybe somebody throw him an Advil. I'm not too sure. Nobody did anything. You're absolutely right. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, at the post game didn't even get any better. It got actually worse. Matthew Riley saying that he takes full responsibility for not doing anything. Bro, listen to me very careful. Okay. Do you remember what happened in Ottawa? Was it last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago
Okay, whatever that case might be.
with the Ridley Gregg, yeah.
Right. And then my guy, scores on an empty net. And Riley went completely nuclear. Okay. Didn't he get suspended, by the way, for that? Like 2 games or whatever it was? Okay. So you had a response about a code, right? Code. Okay. Code. Because you don't do that. You blah, blah, blah. It's a respect thing. And you went nuclear on a guy for shooting on an empty net. And you can't do the same thing for your fucking captain?
Yeah.
Guys, dude, I'm telling you right now, I don't care what anybody says about Auston Matthews, and you can have a complete different conversation about who he is, who he was, has he peaked, has he plateaued? It doesn't matter. The guy wears a C. Whether you like it or not, he's the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Right? Whether you like it or not, whether the team is up or down, your captain gets hit, you
stand up.
You stand up, and you don't stop until everybody feels the same pain. I can assure you, if that happened to Connor McDavid, we're not having the same conversation. If that happened to Nathan McKinnon, we're not having the same conversation. If that happened to Sidney Crosby, we're not having the same conversation. And the nonchalant reaction from this team tells me everything that I need to know that we already probably knew, but this confirmed it. And it took us this long to see it, just see it like that. The response was pathetic. And then, by the way, your boy Willie saying that he didn't see it with that smirk on his face. I would literally sit his ass down. Don't play. Don't fucking play for my team. Go sit down, watch from the press box, and I'm sure you're going to give the middle finger to somebody because that's what you do best. You do everything that you're not supposed to do. You give us 5 good minutes a game, and then the rest is fucking trash. We talked about a low point in the season. The Leafs saw the Raptors game last night, and they said, "Hold my beer." That's what this was. This was a hold my beer moment because we're going to not only match but raise you one. Like the Raptors look like the Detroit Pistons compared to the Leafs.
Yeah, exactly, and like, yeah,
Come on, man.
it's like, but it's like, like the way I look at it is that, like, not even like that. If you look at the Toronto Blue Jays, if something like that happened, if somebody takes a run at Vladimir Guerrero at first base or takes a shot, they're all coming in. The whole bench is clearing. Everybody's going after him. But it's like these guys just don't know how to make it, like,
Stand up
how
for
to
your
do
team.
it. They just don't know how to do it. You watch the Dallas Edmonton game tonight,
McDavid got into a fight.
and like McDavid's out there scrapping and grabbing people by the thing. So obviously that's out of frustration. They're
And that's
getting
fine.
beat, right? But that's fine. At the end of the day,
They were down 4. They're down 4,
but,
whatever it was, and he's still fighting.
yeah,
And it was
but
a scrappy game.
that's Connor McDavid making those. That's Connor McDavid dragging them into the fight in that sense. And Connor McDavid has dragged them into so many games and dragged them out of so many losses. So I mean, he's frustrated. I get that in that sense. But Auston Matthews, as you said, is the captain. He is the face of the franchise. And you did not move an inch to go after Radko Gudas. Did not move an inch to go after Radko Gudas. And this is not the first time that Radko Gudas has done something to you
And it won't be the last.
where he was not done something to you where there's been no fight back from you. Obviously the Joseph Wall incident where when they scored in Game 5 when
Right.
they scored the overtime winner and he yelled in Joseph Wall's face. They played
That's
him the
right.
next year.
That's right.
Nobody said an absolute word to him. He did it. Now he's done it to us. Sidney Crosby in the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's a hit. That's an incidental thing that happens there. Now he's done it to Auston Matthews with the Leafs here, and that's 100% a dirty play.
It is.
There's no intention other than to hurt the guy, right? Like like he's not just skating through him. He literally lunged at him.
Yeah, you can
try and take him out.
obvious.
Yeah, like it's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't want to hear anybody say they didn't do this. Again, there should have been 4 or 5 guys on top of him.
Immediately.
Yes, the referee was in there quickly, but
don't matter. Go through the refs.
Again, if we're talking about it in terms of that, the San Jose game tonight, Boston, San Jose, McAvoy, Kiefer Sherwood with less than 10 seconds left takes a run at Kiefer Sherwood with an elbow.
That was people's elbow.
Yeah, the ref grabs Charlie McAvoy, and somebody comes around the other side. I think it was David Desharnais comes around the other side and tries to grab McAvoy from behind. Yeah. At least he's trying to do something.
Yeah.
The Leafs, Morgan Riley goes up to him and just like, what are you doing? Hey, hey, Radko, like, can I pet your beard? Thank you for doing that to Austin. Like, and that should be all you need to say, okay, Morgan, like, it's just not working here. You have to be like, we have to move you. We have to move you. And it's not just this one instance in that, and it's not all on him to do it. There was 4 other people on the ice. One of the other 4 should have jumped in as well. But he's been on this team for 12 years.
Yeah.
And you gotta stand up and you gotta, like you said, he did it when Ridley Gregg took a slap shot into the open net and everybody was up in arms about the code and blah, 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 and this and that and how it should have happened and stuff. That's a code. You don't take out a star player like that and you don't hurt a star player like that by intending to injure somebody, right? So, and you gotta pay the price for doing something like that. And the Leafs don't make anybody pay the price other than their fans. That's the only people they make pay the price.
If I'm Berube, I'm going to the nearest bar tonight, um, and just figuring out how I can get so
No,
obliterated.
he's going back to the weight gym and drop another
Yeah,
plate on his
drop
forehead.
another.
He's just like boom, smack.
Lord, take me now. Like,
Yeah.
listen, this guy looks exhausted. He looks exasperated.
He's calling
And
up Pete DeBoer and being like, Do you want to take over,
I'll
Pete?
pay
Like,
for your Uber.
I'll
Um,
pay for your contract. You can take
um,
mine.
Listen, you can say whatever you want about Berube, whether he's obviously not the right fit and this and that, and he's had his success and failures. But as a guy who was known as a tough guy, this must kill him. This must absolutely kill him inside. And I don't know if you saw the press conference. You can tell this guy's like completely done with this team. And he did everything
Uh,
with power not to completely just say this team sucks.
yeah, and
Like,
I think the team's done with him too, though.
and that's fine. And that's fine.
Yeah,
That's gonna happen. And obviously I
yeah,
think they're doing him, I don't know if they're doing him a favor by keeping him. Like, just get rid of him now. If the plan is, and we can get into that, to get into that bottom five, just like don't let this guy coach. Like, he's coaching to win games, right? Clearly the team is like, yeah, we'll try, I guess, right? Accidentally we'll win 1 in 8 times if it happens, but uh, he just sounded so defeated and disappointed, and he said it himself, and he stopped short of saying we should have just started something, but he did say we should have been in there right away, and I think he was trying to keep it nice, but and then going back to Nylander, because I can't let this go. It's like seared in my head. They asked him, a reporter asked him, I don't know who it was. Morgan Riley took responsibility. Shouldn't you bear responsibility as well? Because you were there. And he said, yeah, but there were 4 other guys there too. That was his response. If I was Willie, he should have said, regardless of what Morgan Riley, you think he's right or wrong, he should have doubled down on what Morgan Riley said. At least show that you care. Like, if I
yeah.
want to give Morgan
He
Riley some credit, at least he showed some quote unquote remorse, which is bullshit. But Willie doesn't care. Just get him out of here.
Yeah,
It's trash.
it's just Willie's nature. He's got no no
Balls.
sort of nah, yeah, balls.
He's a
He's
good
got
player when
no
he wants to be.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's got no charisma, no energy in that sense. He's just not that kind of guy. He's not gonna say too much. He's gonna say as little as possible without saying a lot, right?
he's an
So
ass.
yeah, obviously nobody knows what the future holds for this team because it's been such a bad year, and every little thing that happens is just bad PR after bad PR after bad PR this season. It's just been constant, like
BS.
one thing after the other, right? Like Brian Burke said, the 18 wheeler's falling right off the cliff, and this one it's just like two 18 wheelers that have rolled over each other and off the cliff.
Wow,
Just
that's
right.
harsh.
It's
But it's
man, it's been horrible to watch. It's been not fun to watch. Like they get outshot every game. Yeah, they won 6-4, but that's because Dostal didn't have a great game tonight,
yeah, he
right?
was a bit of cheeks tonight. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right. Like if you allow 6 goals in on against the Leafs, you're not having a good night, right?
That's on
So,
you.
yeah, exactly, right.
So
So I'm like
where do they go from here? Like, where do they go from here?
to the bottom.
Can they even get that right? Because the worst thing that's going to happen here is that Cannon, I don't think it will, is that they go on a heater and screw this up.
Yeah, and 100%. I mean,
And I
and it
can't
could
believe we're
happen.
having this conversation, by the way, because
And I mean,
I
at the
am
end at
the
the end of
first anti-tank kind of person, but you
yeah,
gotta,
at the
business is business, right?
and at the end of the day, the way I look at it is that uh, they're close enough that they can get there. And I mean, they don't have to fully tank, I guess, at the end of the day, as long as they can stay close enough to the fifth pick. There's a possibility that
Right. True.
the
Yeah.
lottery balls fall their way and they pop up into the top
Possible.
two or top five or whatever. But you want to get as close as possible to that thing. But you also got to look at it in the sense of like, are they really one summer away from competing again? You know what I mean? Because
Right.
if you are, then okay, then you tank it. Let the rest of the season. Matthews is hurt now. Whatever it is with the injury, if he's hurt enough and he's out for like a week, shut him down for the rest of the season. Say it's not worth coming back. Rest, recuperate, figure yourself out, do whatever, and then go from there. Right,
Right.
and then see what happens the rest of the year. But if you get your pick this year, that means you don't have a pick in 2027 and you don't have a pick in 2028 because one goes to Boston, one goes to Philly. So the next 2 years you don't have picks. So you're hoping that okay, you have a bad year this year, you retool that those two picks are 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, whatever it is, right? Late in the first round and you're not really like too worried about them as much as you are this one, right? Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, I truly don't know where they go. I don't know if they're one piece away from making this a thing. Like I really don't know if they're one piece away from opening up another little window here.
No,
Like I just
no,
I
they're
just
not.
don't know. They
They're not a piece away. They are. Listen,
multiple people's pieces away, and it's like in the off season, it's who's available, right? Like like
not anymore.
there.
Like the free
Well,
agent
but
class
that's
that was supposed to be is not so much.
exactly like there was talk about Nick Schmaltz and he being the one guy from the center, the second line center that they could go out and sign. He just re-upped for 8 years, 8 million with Utah, right? So it's like the market's just dwindling and dwindling, and then it's like you got guys out on the back. You got to figure out your back end, and it's like yeah, Darren Radish, the guy in Tampa, there, yeah, he's great, but how much of a like one-off contract year is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Is he that actual guy that's going to be able to push them over the top, right? So there's just so many pieces that they need to move. It's so many different options that they have to like figure out if they actually are going to like retool and get back to where they were.
but that's
But
on MLSD.
I just don't see it happening in one season. I just don't see them doing that in one season. And you've got what, 2 more years left of Auston Matthews at his contract and everything, right? So I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know where this team goes from here.
I think that sometimes you got to make those decisions that it's better to dip too early than too late, right? And I think that it's worth having those conversations, right?
Yeah.
And if you're going to reset, does it mean a 2 year, not even a reset, like a 2 year sort of off years, or are you going full nuclear and clear everything off? And is MLSC willing to do that? I think the answer is no. I think you
No.
know that, right? Like I don't think that MLSC is
Yeah,
interested
I don't
in a.
think they have the appetite for that.
No, I think MLSC is interested in let's get it right and figure it out, which at times can reek of desperation, and then you do dumb things like say what you want about the Mitch Marner scenario. And we all know that a player of his caliber, regardless of what happened or not, you don't replace, right? But what they did is they grabbed these little pieces and then it's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And assume that that was the correction that this team needed. No, it was deeper than that, right? And then everything else just went completely south and it hasn't got any better. And I don't know if and when it's going to. And I don't even think
Yeah.
next year is a thing. I can see this team being in the darkness for a couple of years more, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's being kind.
Yeah, it's been, it's been nine years of good quality, you know,
Pain,
good yeah, it's been good quality of hockey in terms of making the playoffs and stuff
right?
like that, but there's been nothing to show for it in the grand scheme of things other than two first round wins, right? And obviously that's not what they were looking for going into this. So, yeah, I don't know where I don't know where things go from here.
I can't even do the Kawhi thing to say Toronto
Yeah, I don't know.
already here,
Uh, yeah,
right?
I
The
don't
bar
know.
is low, man. The bar is low, but it keeps us entertained. I don't know if it's any kind of fun entertainment, but um, yeah, MLSC, you're up. Hey, but TFC is gonna do well, right? Oh God, help us.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens with them. To be honest with you, like that's
Yeah, it's
I'm. It's kind of I don't know. I'm in a wait and see approach with them this year. Obviously, they added Josh Sargent.
yeah.
They added a few other offensive pieces and defensive pieces. So, well, I'm in a wait and see approach. I know they have. I was looking. They got a 9 game homestand or a nine to 10 game homestand between
Mm.
between May
Oh, May. Okay, I thought you meant like
between
soon.
May and just before the World Cup starts. So they're like at home for like 9 straight games. It's like
Listen, you can
and
run.
I believe they're all afternoon games too. There's no night games, no nothing like that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I believe if I was reading it correctly, there's a bunch of all the 9 games are like afternoon games for the most part. Obviously, the Olympics or the World Cup. Sorry, the World Cup is going to be there, so they're not going to be able to use the stadium during that time. So I get why they're doing it, but yeah, I'm looking at it now. Starting not even in May, in March. Sorry, starting March 14th, they
Oh
have
wow,
one,
you're right.
two,
Yeah,
three, four, five, six, seven, eight, 9 games at home, and
until May 9th.
every single one of them except for one is at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, I may have to go check it out.
Yeah, I was thinking about it too, but obviously with the new baby on the way, it's going to be tough for me to swing on
That's right.
a Saturday afternoon game. But yeah, you never know. Maybe I could swing it for one
Yeah.
of them. Lionel Messi is coming to town on May 9th.
Oh yeah, I saw those tickets. Don't bother.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
I have to sell my car, and you
Yeah, right.
have to get me 2 tickets.
No, exactly.
It's unreal.
Well, thanks for listening to another episode of After the Horn. I'm Mark Shannon, and that's Marco Corona. Peace.
Boom.